We're live. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Friday morning, hanging out with Seth Rent the Way again. Gonna be doing Fridays with Seth all the time. I am Zach Martin with Kids Deserve Dads. Um, Excited to be here with Seth again this Friday and with all of y'all here as we talk about all things fatherhood and spending time together, working on being our best selves. So, um, Seth, welcome. How are you today? Guests have muted themselves. Nice, Seth. Unmute yourself. I am unmuted, so I will keep talking while Seth's muted. Um, so I think what a great week I had this week. I want to share a win with everybody that I thought was really impactful in my life. I got to go with my son on his very first field trip today, and he was so pumped. Or not today, Wednesday, and he was so pumped up. Came to my house, mom dropped him off and stuff, and he is on cloud nine, like bouncing up and down, and everything. Really uh, weird. Having some technical difficulties again. This program. Um, how do I add Seth to the room? That's a good question. Anyways, so we're sitting there, and I'll add Seth in a second. So we're sitting there, and he's like just jumping off the walls and stuff. And I'm going on my very first field trip, Dad. I'm gonna ride a bus, and I'm gonna be doing all these things. And it was just really a magical moment this week, hanging out with my son and doing all of that with him while I was sitting there, just enjoying being in the experience. I don't know how to get you out of the green screen, Seth. Seems I don't think we had this problem last time, and I feel like we have a problem right now. Where the heck do we hide a green screen at? Well, that is a good question for which I don't know the answer. Let's see. Is that the button? It should be so much more intuitive than this. In green screen. I don't know how to do it. Anyways, um, we're here right now. So, one of the things I think we're going to talk about today, let's see. Oh, shoot. I think I did it. Guest one. Remove from green screen. It says remove from green screen. Hmm. All right. Well, hell if I know what's going on here with this thing. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with this thing. So, this is really aggravating. There's Seth right there. Is he on? He's like sending pictures and stuff. Somehow I got him on the screen though too. Um, and right. There we go. I can see Seth. Seth, can you see? It still says you're in the green screen, and I'd hit remove, but it won't remove you from the green screen. So weird. Anyways, okay. Fun stuff. So we're sitting here, and I really enjoyed my time with my son this week. It was really fantastic, and we did a lot of stuff. We played pickleball almost every day this week. We were planning on playing pickleball tonight or this morning, but after this call, but his mom's not going to be bringing him over to the house today. I guess she's going to take off work and spend the day with him and stuff, which is disappointing and totally okay. That's what it's all about, right? He's getting to spend some time with the family and doing family stuff. And I'm going to sit here and I'll do some work today and everything. Seth, I see you on the screen, um, but I cancel.
Oh, there.
The
You let
fuck,
me in
man?
now.
You're in.
It
I don't
should
know
be
what
there now.
I didn't do anything different. I like literally have
Nice.
no clue. So Ecam, you're messing with us. But hey, guess
Well,
what?
what
We're here.
happened was on my end, it kept saying that there was a that it was in the green room and you had to let me in. I don't know. I'm not
Right.
real familiar with
I
this
think the software
program,
is really
so
good.
but it did
I
say
think
that I was in the green room. You have to let me in, but I don't even see any of the controls. I didn't even get to put a cool background up or anything today.
well, you already got the cool background, buddy. I don't know what that is, those symbols and stuff, but they're pretty sweet.
I
So
don't know what
looks
it
like
is
some.
either.
Is that something that your kids that went to college left and had, or is that yours from when you were in college?
Definitely not mine. No, my wife put it up. I don't even know
Your
what it
wife.
is.
Thanks, babe. She went to Ernie November's and picked that bad boy up and said, "You know who would like this, Seth? That's from the
Yeah.
heart."
Hey, is it on your end? Because it looks like everything is just like super choppy with the screen. I mean, like I don't know the video.
Um, I don't know if it's just on our end or if it is uh, in general that way. It might be that there's so much stuff going on my Mac, and that I might need a
I
better
see.
computer for doing this. I also have like some program. So my friend Ivan Barra, um, he's the one that recommended this, and he's helping me to get it set up. He's probably watching it now, and going, "Oh, what are you doing, Zach?" And I think a work in progress to get this thing down. So there's a lot of work to be
Yeah.
done on figuring these little nuanced things out and stuff. But the most important thing, I think, in life in general, anyways, you can tell me what your thoughts are. But I've listened to a bunch of people talk about just freaking do it, right? Like you're not gonna make a podcast and be a great podcaster if you keep working on all the technical difficulty things and get everything down perfect, but you never make a podcast. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah. No, I think it's part of the creative process. I think you just got to pick up a pen, start drawing. You
start
know,
drawing.
you'll figure it out. So, but no, and I figured out over here where the comment section is, which is pretty cool. It looks like we got Hope. Hope's got a few different comments, and Daryl. You
All
see
right,
those
you
over
figured out.
there?
I don't see those. I don't know where those would be
Yeah,
at the
over on the
moment.
top right hand corner, there's a little comment box. Click on that
Okay,
thing because then it comes up and you can see everybody's. Jesse's on there. Hey, Jesse, how's it going?
dope. Oh, I love
Yeah, I
Jesse.
think
What's
the
up?
picture does look like old internet, dial-up internet.
Yeah.
Hopefully the sound isn't that way.
Uh, well,
I actually have really
this.
good internet. I just got the broadband this week, so or not the broadband, but the what do you call it, fiber optics this week. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't think I
Daryl
have
says, can
that.
we talk about single full-time dads fighting with narcissistic grandmother that always
Oof.
oversteps boundaries? Oof,
Yikes. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can talk
a
about that. I think
narcissistic grandmother, huh?
is that your mom or her mom? Because there's different ways to handle both those.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that is a touchy. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if Daryl, you were seeing the video Zach and I did, one of the first ones we did last week. Um, but as far as the narcissism goes, usually the best way to fight against narcissism, in my opinion, um, is if you can get that narcissistic grandmother to sit down and listen for a little bit. Sometimes if I can let them understand that I'm seeing it from their point of view, and then ask them if they'll see it from mine. If they won't, there's not much you can do. And then I don't know, man. I try to leave them alone from there on. Give it a shot. If they won't, need a specific scenario probably, but they go much too further
I
into
think
that.
the idea of like a narcissist and stuff, those are people that like that have a real need for control, and a lot of that stuff's out of their anxieties, right? Like their need to control their experience in their world.
I think it. Yeah, I mean, like, well, the world revolves around them, right? I think
Yeah,
some of that you see a lot. I think everybody has a little bit of narcissism, right? I don't know. It's one of those things where, just like everything, there's a
I think
balance to be made in something. Like, is there a healthy amount of narcissism, right? Well, you got to care for yourself to some degree, right?
I completely agree.
But it's when you want the
Yes,
world to revolve around you that's unhealthy. And I think that just our society in general kind of lends to this in the fact that everything's such a consumer world. So we're always wanting, to feed ourselves in the moment, so instant gratification that it sort of kind of um, lends your perspective to be about yourself, I think. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's an
completely
interesting
agree.
one.
I think dealing with narcissism, is really, especially when you're doing parenting stuff. Jesse made a good comment on there. He basically sat his grandmother down and told her that he's going to mess up his kids the best way he can. And I think, and she had her chance, and she already screwed him up, right? So maybe something a little humor
Mhm.
can't hurt. But I think that need to control narcissists and people that are have that. I think everybody's a narcissist now. It's just a word that's being tossed around like everybody who's not doing what you want. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
your mom's not a narcissist. She definitely could be. And not everybody is, but there's a lot of that talk of narcissism out there. And I agree with you, Seth, that it's healthy to actually have to put yourself first and be focused on you. But it's
In some
also,
aspects, yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you don't put yourself first, then, I think they said it best in Talladega Nights. You're last, buddy.
Yeah, or the old classic cliche of, you got to put your mask on first, in
Yeah.
a plane crash type scenario. Take care
And
of
some people take
yourself or
that.
you can't take care of other people.
I think a lot of times people start getting in their own heads about, like, I have these ideas and I'm thinking about this stuff. And I know in my mind, this is exactly what needs to be done. And their communication style and technique of how to, like, uh, get others to see them and come on board with their opinions and their thoughts is lacking, right? And so, like, what somebody doesn't know how to actually have a conversation about that and help you find the answer for yourself. And so then they're like, it's got to be this way, and I got to dictate and control because I don't know how to be comfortable in this space when I'm just asking somebody questions to find their answers. And the only way I can do that is to actually
Mm.
tell them what they have to be doing, and that, and then raise that high energy level up and get that nervousness going and that anxiety, and then everybody starts feeling that anxiety and that unease. And I think calming yourself down and being grounded in you when you're in that experience with that person, and being true to yourself and true to what you're there to accomplish with your kids and your time, that can help to ease her anxiety and her feelings and bring her back down to a reasonable level of energy, right, and attention, because most likely nothing's falling apart and everything's going okay, and you're probably a really fantastic dad. You wouldn't be on Kids Deserve Dads if you weren't a fantastic dad. So let's just be honest.
So I'm gonna give a quick recap. I don't Jesse and hope you guys probably I don't know if you guys watched what we were talking about last week, but I'll make a real quick synopsis so you guys kind of I might give you a couple of things to think about and how to deal with this. But I'm gonna do it real quick.
And last week I
Basically
think
I
this
see
was on
myself. Yeah,
YouTube. Last week was only on YouTube. We didn't do it on Facebook.
okay. Okay. So probably you
So,
guys didn't. Okay. So
yep.
so I'll give you a real quick rundown. Um, I see myself, and you guys might agree with this. I hope you do. If you don't, leave a comment section. Um, I see myself as a spiritual being having a physical experience, and so because of that, um, the self awareness about that is empowering in scenarios that involve high emotions, strong opinions over high stakes, right? And when we talk about like dads, we talk about relationships with grandmothers, in-laws, all this pretty high stakes stuff. And so if we see ourselves when I see myself as a spiritual being having a physical experience, I realize that whenever I find myself in scenarios like that, the first thing that I do is I start seeing things, hearing things, taking different data sets, trying to um, um, gather as much information about that scenario as I can. Like you find yourself like I said, in a high stakes scenario, right? So that's the first thing I do, and then the second thing is I tell myself a story about everything that I just saw and heard, right? Um, and then number three is the most critical one, which is I feel something about the story I told myself, right? About everything that I saw and I heard in scenarios that involve high emotions, strong opinions over high stakes. And so because that number three, that feeling part, is really heavy influential on what the number four step is, the basic number four step is, which is I can either react or I can respond. And in basic terms, I have basically three different choices to choose from of how either I'm going to react or respond. So two of them are heavily informed by that physical experience that I'm having, right? So if I start feeling that anxiety, like you're talking about, Zach, that elicits a response in me, right? Like, and it's usually a fear-based response, something that you feel uncomfortable about, something you're vulnerable about, and so the physical response, the only options I'm aware of is fight or flight, right? So I can either fight about it, I can get silent about it, I can act like everything's okay when it's really not. Those kind of things, those I would put in the category of fight or flight response, the physical part of that physical experience. And then the third option is I can make friends, I can go to peace, I can go to dialogue about the scenario, and that all has different boundaries and rules in it, in order to work that the best way possible. And so that third option, though, is not going to come from a physical response. It's going to, because I believe I'm a spiritual being having a physical experience. I literally believe that comes from an outside the physical. So it's a choice. It's a spiritual choice or a thought, the conscious interacting with the physical experience to choose which are you going to do in this moment. Are you going to give in to the fight response or reaction, or are you going to get, because it's a reaction. And I think it's important to lay this out. You guys may not agree with me. That's fine. There's going to be people that don't, and I understand why. But um, if this makes sense to you, I think it'll really help. And if nothing else, at least you'll know why. If you ask me, hey, what do I do with my mother-in-law, and I give you a specific response, you'll know why and where it was coming from. And if it helps, I hope so. Anyways, so those are literal physical responses that you don't really get a choice over. They just happen. They're reactions within your body. And so um, in a crude sense, like the idea of like an avatar inside of a physical being is probably pretty a crude, a rudimentary perspective that I would have. And so you could choose, okay, now what do I do with that? Well, the truth is the first thing that you got to do in order to come to dialogue, to come to peace, to try to get to some type of harmony in that scenario or understanding, you got to be honest with yourself. Okay, because you got to be honest, because if you're not honest, then you won't be willing to accept that it's at least possible that 95% of the story you told yourself about everything that you saw and you heard in a scenario that involves high emotions, strong opinions over high stakes is going to, it's possible at least that it could be understood in a 180 perspective and can be completely valid, right? 180 perspective from your own, given the same set of facts. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, there's a, um, oh, did everything freeze up here? There's a picture, there's like an image. Um, there's a, yeah, okay. I'm trying to speed it up. Zach, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine. Keep going.
I can't, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yeah, no, we hear you just fine. Keep
Anyways, I'm
going.
going to keep talking. Um, um, so yeah, the way to bring that to, you got to be willing to accept that 95% is at least possible that it can be interpreted in a completely valid but 180 way of yourself. There's a picture. That's what I'm going to tell you. There's a picture. It's called it's of an old woman, beautiful lady picture. And it's like a drawing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it has, if you look at it one perspective, then it looks like this old lady. But if you look at the same lines on the page, you can perceive the lines to be actually drawn like a young woman. And so the question becomes, give that all of these are the same picture, the same line on the page, is that who's wrong? Is it you know this mark on the page, is that the old lady's mouth, or is it the young woman's shawl around her neck or whatever? I mean, nobody's really wrong in that. So the idea is, to try to come to some resolution with wherever that uh, issue is, and do that through humility, through dialogue, talk it through, come to a resolution rather than giving into the response of fight or flight, because nobody
Mhm.
wins when that happens. So I
Right.
don't know if the rest of you guys can hear me or not. I'm gonna wait here for a second.
Everybody can
Um,
hear you just fine.
Zach, can you hear me,
We
Zach?
can all we can all hear you just fine. It's your speakers that you can't hear anybody else. But anyways, I think that's a really
I think
great
I
thing.
can.
You know, I
I
think
think I
having
heard
that
you.
that spot, I think having that spot is really important. I muted you now, so did you keep
Um,
rambling? Anyway, so that's a great spot. I think that it's really important that uh, having that visualization about you being in that space, right? That you are that being that's out there, and that you're doing these things for yourself and for other people, and that each person comes from their own personal perspective. Your perspective of how this situation is going in your life is different than the other person's perspective, and that being focused on that perspective is what keeps us in this mind frame. And so, as I have been trained on it, and how I see it is that this is like a glass of sunglasses, right? You're wearing sunglasses, and you're wearing green sunglasses, right? And then the person's wearing a white shirt. Well, if you're the only one wearing green sunglasses, you see this as a green shirt, right? Everybody else around you might see something as white because they don't have the sunglasses on you have. They're wearing no sunglasses or plain sunglasses, and you're wearing um, green sunglasses. And so that actually gives you that shade of color that gives you that perspective. So when everybody says, hey, look at that person in a white shirt, you like, I don't see a white shirt. I only see a green shirt. And until you recognize that you actually are wearing those sunglasses, that you have that perspective on your life, at that point in time, that's when you actually have the revelation about who you are and what it is that you're seeing. And that you have the choice then at that point in time to remove those sunglasses and choose something different, right? You can choose to just have plain sunglasses. You can have red sunglasses. You know, whatever your truth might be in that moment, whatever you're looking for it to be, you can have that. And so that's the way that I've been trained on that thought, and it's a huge, powerful experience to have that there. I see Seth in the background. I muted him. He has no idea. Anyways, let's bring him back. And good morning, Alicia. Much love. Always a pleasure to see you and your smiling face, even though it's just a picture. So I'm gonna let Seth speak again. But Jesse, I think some stepdad stuff is really important to talk about. Seth is um, he's a dad who has like four of his own kids, and he adopted three other kids. He's calling me on the phone. I'm not answering your phone call, Seth, but I am going to unmute you. So let's see what he's talking about right now. Can you hear me, Seth? Oh, maybe he's gone. Uh, Dude, Jesse, I would love to have you on. Let's do this. It can't be any worse production than me and me and Seth. So, anyway, we're waiting for Seth to come on back, and he had some problems. We weren't getting along very well. And Alicia, I'd love to get you on here too. So let's make a plan to do another one again because that was so much fun. I know we've talked about it, but let's really do it. So, um, I got some big stuff about kids or dads that came out yesterday, and it's happening. It's really moving forward. So. Um, I think that I was a stepdad one time. I don't know if anybody's ever known that about me or not. I was in my late 20s and early 30s. Um, I would say it was a trying time in my life. I really, I married a woman who had two kids, and it was a hard place to be a stepdad and to know your bounds and what you are called to do and feel supported in doing, and also what supports that relationship. Their dad was around. He wasn't really active. uh it's waiting for me to sign you back in. Let's see if I can get you signed back in. Gosh dang, man, that's Seth, you're asking a lot of things right now, my friend. But um let's see. Mm, I'm not seeing it. So anyways, so I think that it was really impactful from my experience having that stepdad approach. And I really try to do, you know, was just to be the best that I could be. I spoke with the dad a couple times. I think I like a lot of those experiences. Um, the custodial parent tries to keep the other parents of the same sex separated and like not communicating, and it's something that I would definitely never do to myself or to the kids or the other parent again in that experience. But that um, I would insist on being connected with that person and supportive of that person, because as a step parent, and as a parent, you need to work with everybody that's involved. You need to work on getting along and supporting each other and being there and helping that person out. And so, how do you show up for that guy? Because you're with his kid every day, right? Like, you get to see his son and you get to spend time with him every day, and he doesn't. He gets to have the weekends, or I know that he lives hours away. Jesse and I are friends, so I do have that experience with Jesse, that we've had these conversations. But that he does live hours away, and that makes it a little more challenging for that connection to be done. And so, one of the things that I find to be very impactful is, and I think that if I have that experience again, I'm dating a woman that has a kid, um, and it's going really well. He is not involved at the moment, and I sure hope that he comes around and gets it together, and that when he does, my intention is that I'm there to help him be a better dad. I'm there to help him in any way that I can connect with his son and not be in the way. I would never try to take time or do anything else, because I know what it's like to have that on my end. Unfortunately, I didn't have that experience when I was a stepfather. And so I didn't realize that connection and that love, but that it's so important as a stepfather to know your role. Your job is to be support. Now, you're supporting the mom in the house, right? You're helping the kids. You're doing the best you can to be that person for those kids and for that family. And you get to really step into, a support role all the time. And how do you come in and communicate, if you're a stepdad, with the bio dad, especially if he's around and wants to be involved, and whether he gets every other weekend, and that's something you can have influence on. You should be working with the mom to get the stepdad more time, or the real dad more time, because that's what he needs. And how much better of a relationship you're going to have with your girlfriend, wife, whatever she is, if the kids are at their dad's house more often. I mean, think about it. Come on now. I know how much I appreciate all the chances I get to have kids being gone, at least for when I'm in a relationship with my girl. So, um, that and so it makes a big difference. I don't know if I can add. You know what? I'm not even going to try adding other things right now. I'm going to stick with what I got going, and then we'll run from there. So, but I think that it's really important. I think that that's kind of the key, and just being real empathetic and supportive. It's a hard place to be at, to be um, a dad or a mom who's not present all the time, and then knowing that somebody else is there. And when you don't have that connection with that person, where you guys are working on building that relationship together, it can be confrontational and combative. But when you come from a place of your heart, where you're actually speaking to this man as, listen, I like this woman, I like your kids, I'm here to help and be a positive male role model and influence when I'm with them. But that my true intention is to support you in being the best dad you can be, and helping them have the most of you that they can get. And if you come from a place of that kind of connection and that support for that man and his relationship with his kids, that you're an ally and a teammate to him, and your job is to help facilitate their relationship, that is exactly what you need to be working on, and that will get you set up. And so that's the kind of space that I feel like uh, a stepdad's role is to be that connection space, to be that support, and that you're another man and you can understand that feeling of that connection, right, of that biological blood relationship, and that having that understanding and that connection, you can then relay that information to that person and come from a place of support and caring, and and I can't see text either right now. So, and all that other good stuff. So, uh, because that's so important. Jesse, I would love to have you call in. I know you called my phone, and I don't know how to do that yet. So maybe you and I can practice one day and we can actually learn how to do all these things. We can sit here and mess around with this tool and I can be better because I could use it. So because I lost Seth and I can't add you and boom, Seth got kicked out. Yeah, it's a mess, but I do feel like there's a lot of good opportunities and a lot of great things that can come out of that. And the goal of a stepfather and that in that relationship is to really be the role model, right? You are one of the role models for these kids. You are leading them by example, and they are watching you in every moment. And you reaching out to their biological dad and using that to support them in this way is um, is so important. It's so beneficial to have them um, being supported and being connected with you, um, and and also seeing that you and their dad are a team. You guys are both men who have at one point in time loved their mom and both care about them, and that you guys are in unison together. And if the kids see those two powerful men coming together and supporting each other around these kids, those kids think about the level they're going to be at. How much greater are they going to be in their lives by having both you and their dad being there supporting each other? So I think it's important to really help out. You said one of the things. Feel bad because I've ended up being one of the one teaching these major life skills and events. I'm not gonna get into this. Well, and I think did you take them from him, or did you do what you had to do in that moment to support that kid and getting what he needed to get? You know, and I know he's not there very much. And how can you be in a space where you can say, okay, I know this is something that needs to be done. How can I connect with this guy? And maybe you haven't connected well with him in the past and you haven't done well with him in the past to be that connection point, and it's felt like you're taking, but that you can actually step up and you can do this, um, and you could do this in a way that could be supportive, because that's exactly what it's all about, is building that connection in that team, and that you get to step up and you get to be the one who leads that way, right? I know you, Jesse, and I've known you for a long time. You're a powerful man who has the ability to go out there and make that connection, and that people love and respect you. And so, regardless of what's happened, you get to show from your heart that you want him involved and that you want to be the person who's going to support him in having those things. And so, reaching out, coming from a place of understanding and support, and how do you do this for him? How can I help you be involved? I want to help you guys build a better, stronger relationship. What do you need from me? And then shut up. Let him speak. Ask him clarifying and open-ended questions so you can understand what it is that he's saying. Because that understanding of what that man is saying he needs is exactly what you get to do, so you can set this up. And then do what he asks. Do what he asks. Because doing what he asks, and he sees you doing that stuff, so he can have that relationship and you guys can build that connection around the kid's support, is going to help him feel comfortable knowing that you're on his team, that you're a team player, that you are working for his kids, and you're also working for him to have his relationship with his kids. That you're not here to take from him. You're here to give back to him and support him. And that's going to build a better relationship. That's going to get you the results you want to get. And is it easy? No. Uh, it's not easy. But you get to help that guy out. And you get to help yourself out, because having him being on your side is going to make everything less confrontational. It's going to bring the energy level down, and you guys are going to have a better place. So I think that kind of goes into it pretty well. Um, you know, it's really important to facilitate those things, though, because what happens as a stepdad is that you have infinitely more access to these kids in most situations than the bio dad does, and they feel resentment, they feel resistance, they feel slighted, they feel hurt by that experience, and that you get to step up and help out the best you can and reach out to him. He hasn't been around in a year. Well, if he's going to be out completely, then what does it matter? But anyways, I think the important thing is really just setting yourself up in a way that you can know in your heart that you're doing the right thing and that you're really helping facilitate that connection, that relationship. And that as a stepfather between two kids, you get to hope. I think that's a really hard thing, right? I think I beat the horse to it. Yes, same advice to stepmoms. I think step parents, your job is to be support, support and love the partner you're with, support and love those kids, and support and love the other parent who's not there because you can be a connection point. You're the same sex, and that makes a big difference. I know that people say, "Oh, what about women?" Well, I'm a dude. I'm a guy. I'm a man. I don't have any experience of being a woman. I have gone to a woman's bathroom before to use it. That's about the extent of my womanly experience, and I don't think that qualifies me for anything. I'm a dude. I'm a man. I understand what it's like to be a man. I feel man feelings. I have the man experience and growing up as a man, and that's what I've known and do know, and I can come from that place with honesty and clarity. But I can't do it from a place of a woman. So, um, yes, ask for information. That the questioning is where it's at. That allows them to open up. Being inquisitive and from a place of wanting to learn, from wanting to dive into them, and then asking those questions that clarify the things they're saying about. That's the most important thing. Yes, so important. Thank you, Alicia. Exactly correct. And this is for men and women. This is not one gender on how to do this. Both step parents can be this person for that relationship, and think about how much of a greater family you're going to have when people are getting along and supporting each other, and the other sexes and the other parents know that they have an ally in the other house, that it's not somebody trying to take over their spot, but that it's somebody who's trying to accentuate and grow their experience and help these kids be better, and not take from them, but give more to those kids. And also you're showing every day that you're giving to that other parent too. You're including them and supporting them and bringing them along and doing the best you can. That's going to build that relationship. So when bio mom won't give any information, Hope, oh man, that's very hard. You know, um, I've been there. I think it happens to a lot of non-custodial parents, which I am one. And I get a lot of time with my son, a lot more than most, which is a blessing. And still a lot less than I would love. God, I would cherish some more time with this boy. And I hope to have him this morning, and I'm not going to get him now. And I hope his mom and him have a great time. And I was really looking forward to playing pickleball at the YMCA with my son. And I know he was too. And so I hope they have a great day today. And um, when they won't get the information and stuff, I think it's a place where they are feeling like they're in control and they are the dominant person, and they also get to make all the decisions. And that's probably true, right? I mean, that's probably what the court says without a doubt. But um, my allergies are acting up today. Fall season, we got snow on the ground. Um, and it's dry up in this bad boy. So apologies for my sniffing. I did take a Mucinex, so we'll see how that cleared it up. That's just a plug for Mucinex. Not an affiliate yet, but I definitely would take you on Mucinex as an affiliate. Help me clean this out and let everybody know about the greatness of Mucinex. I think that's a really hard thing. Um, One thing that I've done for myself is I've been in contact with the places that my son goes to. So I know his doctor, I know his dentist, I know his eye doctor, I know the school that he goes to, and they know me. I've posted pictures of me teaching. I've been a substitute. I signed up to be a substitute. I've only gone like 5 times to be a substitute, but by being on that role, they call me. They know that I'm there. I go and read to the class like once every couple of weeks. I go and have lunch with my son. I do those things to be involved so they see my face and they know that I'm active and that I'm not to be ignored. And I think doing things like that really will help set you up to be connected with your kids and be supported. Another thing that's also really important to do is let her know that I'm interested, that I want to be involved, that I want to be supportive, and how do I come from a space that supports? I think that goes along with the same kind of questioning that we were talking about with um, uh, some mental disorders. That's hard. Um, she lies about it. When you have a person who is probably not completely there mentally and emotionally and stuff, that gets to be hard. Um, that gets to be really hard. I think it's really important when that happens just to stay focused, stay focused on how you show up for her and for them. And it's all about the kids, right? I mean, we're here like eh, as a parent and stuff, like I do everything for my son, whatever it takes, I take care of it and I do it. And um, I've thought a lot about how I show up for my son's mom and for my son in our experiences and stuff, and how do I be there in support at all the times. Um, when you know, she's had boyfriends a couple times. She's had other people in her life that have not always been the best, and she's made choices that aren't what I would necessarily do with our son. And we're not together, and so when she has him, she gets to make those choices, and I get to respect them as hers and let it go. And letting it go is really hard. I mean, we've all seen Frozen. So when Anna's singing about it and stuff, or is it the other girl? Anna's my favorite one, anyways. Who's your favorite from? I like her. I think she's got a way better personality. That was kind of not as cool. So I think that it's important to stay connected. Help them out the best you can, but also protect yourselves. It sounds like she has some issues and stuff. And she runs away and try to not make it confrontational. Try to be, I think, from coming from a space of understanding, and you want to understand where she's coming from, how she's thinking. How do you support her? Because she obviously is feeling threatened, right? She's running, she's hiding, she's lying, she's doing these things because she has that anxiety about what she has going on and what's showing up inside of her. And how do you do that? Um, how do you do that in a way that supports her in um, there we go. I can put posts up and stuff. So check out the technology. Look at me. I'm like a master of this art. So she has the ability to go out there and do these things. And I think you being in a space where you are solid in who you are and how you're showing up, and then really thinking about how she's showing up in her life. What is she doing? Why is she doing these things? How can you be more supportive in helping her bring down that wall and that anxiety around the situation, and being a better lighthouse, right? For lack of a better word, I think that's probably a great word. And it's her whole life. Yeah, it's not just you guys. I mean, yeah, she's a liar. She's runs. Because that's how she was trained as a kid, right? She didn't know. She learned all these things that she's doing now, and they served her at some point in time in her life. Um, and so uh, uh, that's a way that she handles these things, and that um, she does this. So she has built this this persona, this approach, because this approach in her life has actually set her up for protection and support and comfort when she's being attacked or doesn't feel like she's being supported. And she has designed and built these tools that she uses over and over again in her life from a place of comfort and protecting herself. And and most people, it's not a conscious choice, right? It's what she's done since she was 3 years old, 2 years old. And her upbringing and her growth through her childhood and her life has actually got her in this space right now where she's at, that this is the actions that she takes. And this is how she shows up for her kids, and for herself, right? Because this is what she knows. And changing how you do things requires, I think we talked about this earlier, it requires recognition, right? She needs to have a revelation about how she's acting and the results she's getting. And if she wants something different, she gets to do something different. And right now, she's running on instinct and not thought and consciousness. And instinct, when you've been trained improperly with poor skills, can be dangerous, which is what she's living in right now, running and hiding and lying and doing all these things. And that's a dangerous and sad place to be at. And so calming down yourself and allowing yourself to be at peace and at ease, knowing that you're coming from a place of support and care and with a true honest desire to understand, is going to help you guys to see that situation. Honesty and humility. I mean, I completely agree. You know, letting her feel comfortable in that space and knowing that you're not coming from a place of judgment, but from a place of trying to understand, you know, um, just allowing her to be who she is and helping her break down those barriers, because she has these walls up that she's built to keep herself safe since she was a kid. And now, as an adult, those walls are hurting her and her kids because she doesn't know how to break them down and to be comfortable in the reality of the life and the things that she's choosing to do. So, but I would say go around her, talk to the schools, talk to the things, make a point, be in the schools, know the receptionist, know the principal, know the teachers, go there, set up a time. Most things have this thing called like Class Dojo. That's what they use here in Rapid City. I don't know what it's called, but a program on your phone where you can type in and you can go and talk to these people, right? And go talk to those schools, communicate with that um, that teacher, and let them know that you care, that you're involved, that you have them on the weekends, you have them, Wednesday nights and stuff, and that you want to be the best dad you can be, and you want to be the best stepmom you can be, and how can I help in my way to be part of this, and also include the mom. Let her know that you're there. Ask the teacher to do a group text between all of you guys so you can all see the same text whenever she sends something out. It goes to everybody. It's not just the mom. It's not just the dad. But go out there and be the best you can be, and keep doing that, and keep being the best you can, and try to help out every way that you can with this mom or this dad who has these walls around them and can't be in a spot because they are struggling to make it work, and that struggle is real, um, and you get to support them. And it sounds like Hope. We've never really had a conversation before, and so I've seen you on a lot of different things and stuff, and it's hard when you watch somebody who is making choices that are self-destructing and causing pain and suffering and leaving a trail of destruction around them, and all you can do is watch. And sometimes coming from a place where you're like, hey, you're doing this wrong, sounds like the right way, but if you want to bring them in, asking questions is going to do that. So I imagine you're an amazing stepmom and you're doing the best you can, and keep doing it. I think it's a it's a powerful place to be at, and it's so necessary. And the kids can get so much knowledge and lessons from being in connection with you through that experience, and seeing that grace and that compassion when you're working with that stuff. That could make a huge difference in how these kids grow and handle situations in the future, because they may not be necessarily internalizing and seeing all the things that their mom does, but they see everything, right? And they are aware of, like, they can feel her energy when she's feeling defensive and protective, right? And they're trying their best to give to her also. And so being that solid space of support where they know that you're even keel, you aren't up and down and all over the place, that you are here and you are going, and you are being that firm baseline of energy and attention and focus, that's something they can latch onto and reside in, and that bringing that mom into that space can be hard. Auntie Hope, I imagine you're amazing. That's a place from insecurity, right? She's insecure about that, and that insecurity is bringing a wedge, right? She's like, she might be threatened by you because my experience is that you're a very connected and supportive mom, and you want to have what's best for these kids, and she does too. And she doesn't know how to do that in conjunction with you, because how she sees this is that you're a threat. You are taking from her, and that you are not a in addition to and a support system with, but that you are the person who is taking this time, who is taking these lessons, like Jesse said earlier, that I took 10 life experiences from this guy. Did you take them, or were you with the kids and you just provided that for them? And if he's not around since December, if he's not around, they need to have those life experiences, and you get to give them to them and support them through that. And that it may look like a take in the moment, because you're like, oh, if I was a dad, if this is my bio kid, I would want to have that experience with them. And if they're not around, you can't just force that upon them. It gets to be something that they that they get to do, or not. So um, uh, I think it's important to just try to maintain that relationship, building that connection as best you can, especially if they're going to be involved. And you being the person who wants to build that relationship, you get to look at this person, see how they show up, and then make that choice of like, how do I come from a place of understanding, of compassion, of empathy and support, and put myself in a spot that this person feels that they feel they think that, because they've seen me show up time and time and time again in this spot of service to them and support for them. And it may take a year, 5 years, it may take a lifetime. I don't know these people, you guys do. And how you keep showing up over and over and over again can bring that support to them. Because if you are committed to that, and you are committed above and beyond anything else that you have, you will it will be seen. The kids will see it. She will see it. Whether she chooses to actually acknowledge it, or step into that and feel comfortable and allow you to allow herself to let the walls down and be comfortable in that space, you get to show up in that way. That is how you see to break those walls down. And if you need to make some changes, then you shift into continuing to keep working on that stuff for yourself and for her. And that's going to be the way you're going to get there for them. And it's a really powerful place. That's what I've done with my son's mom and I. When I moved to Rapid City last year, my son's kindergarten year, I didn't get to take him to school, or pick him up or anything. I was in a spot where I didn't get to see my son but Wednesday nights and every other weekend. Um, and in that experience, I was heartbroken. Like, I'm right here, and she had a live-in boyfriend. They just bought a house and stuff, and so he's taking her to school. He's taking him to this. You don't need to be around. We don't need you. We don't need you. And I was like, no, but you don't need me, but our son needs me, and I'm here for him, and I'm here for you. How do I keep showing up? And so I would ask all the time, I'm ready. If you need me, I'm here. And so early in the fall last year, she let go of some of that need to control, and I've been working on this for a decade of my life on self improvement and personal mastery, but that really dove into the last 2 or 3 years, especially real seriously and deeply. And with that, I came from a place where it was like, I'm here to support, and so she loosened up. She let me have every day after school. I got to pick him up because nobody else was there, right? She had to pay somebody to take him up, and so I offered, and she accepted, and I have picked him up every day since then. And then I asked to take him to school, and she had a live-in boyfriend, right? And said, "Oh no, my boyfriend's got it. He didn't take him to school and stuff." And I was just always there. I always offered. They were having a hard time doing some stuff. Hey, I'm here. If you need me, I'll come over there. I'll drive across town. I'll pick our son up. I'll take him to school, because that's what it takes, right? And I was always willing. I was always present. I was always consistent. And I didn't come from a place of like, you should be doing this. Like, it's my son, and I should be the one taking him to school, or I'm the one who's his dad, and this and that. I didn't ever come from a place of like, you shoulda, woulda, coulda, attacking. That doesn't get you what you want. I came from a place of like, hey, I'm here to support you. If you need me, call me. I got you. I got our son, and I will be there at the very first moment you give me the opportunity. I will be there, and I'll be present, and I'll be amazing. And as soon as I got the opportunity, I stepped in with excellence, right? I got the chance last spring after spring break. Um, they broke up. So, that's another story for another day. Kind of funny and sad same time. But um, they broke up, and she didn't have anybody. Um, and she asked me, and like I never was in the military, but I wish the host could let you in too, man. I don't know how to freaking do it anymore. There has to be. Oh wait, let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna try to get you back in here, Seth. One more time. We're gonna do it again. That's not it. That's not what I want to do. Um, you know what? There's just so many things on here that I feel it says it's on. I don't see you anywhere. I don't know how to see you, Seth, my friend. Um, and so, anyways, I think the really important thing that happened out of that experience was that when um, I was there, the moment she asked, boom, I was there. I was present. I was ready to go, and I saw this as an opportunity, and I stepped in. And I showed up at her house. I picked him up. She brought him over to my house, and I was there to support her in this whole experience. And so when she was sitting there, we had this great opportunity to really discuss these things, and we were working together as a team, and I was just in her support. What can I do to help you out? How can I help you with this? You may come to your house. You may do this. You may do that. So we started this year with me going to her house, and then um, and do this whole house thing. I need to go to school and do videos. I'm almost done with school, and I'm probably never almost done with school. Actually, I'm almost done with some videos, and started to let me in. You're doing great though. I wish I could see it. I don't know. I don't know. It looks like on my screen there's too much crap on it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But that I can't see all the things. Uh, there's got to be a way to do this that I don't know how to do, and I just am giving up on it. So go out there and but show up in a way that gives your kids that support, and be that for your kids and be that for the other parent because they need it. And um, yeah, Hope, love to have you on here weekly. Thank you for the questions and stuff today. It's been a real blessing. I think that we talked about it earlier. Just going out there and doing it, um, making the effort, making the try. I don't know how good this came out. I think it'll be better. I got to keep working on it. I got some new apps and things to help out making this thing like more effective and more streamy, faster speed and stuff. And that I get to step into that stuff. But that I do know that I've produced great results in my life from my son and I and my son's mom. And then I continue to have that aspect and that thought at heart. And I don't have any angst and stuff. Like even this morning when she sent me that text about not being able to be here and not bringing them to me and stuff. Um, That's sad, right? That they won't give in until they have no other choice. And it's that control. It's that wall, right? It's that wall we were talking about earlier. That she had this control, she had this wall, she had this space. It's still used sometimes and stuff. And I don't let the weaponization of it get to me anymore. Like I know that what I'm doing is the best that I can do and I'm giving my maximum effort. And just because someone wants to sling things at me, I don't let that go to my heart. I don't let the words that she slings affect me. He's been tardy 3 times this year. It was brought up, you know, and there was some ultimatums and things that were said and stuff. I didn't take it to heart. I know I'm doing the best that I can. I show up every day. I give my maximum effort. I try with excellence to be the best man that I can be and the best dad that I can be in every moment. Am I always the greatest dad? No. Have I yelled at my son? Yeah, I've yelled at him. Have I spanked him? No, I have never spanked my son. I never will spank my son. But I don't believe in spanking. I believe that little humans deserve the same respect as adults, and that it doesn't require physical striking to get a point across, and that to really give your kids the discipline and the education they need to have to get this back, that you get to really focus on how you show up, and it takes more time, it takes more energy, right, to get on their level and to feel their space and to be in that experience with them. and help walk them through it, because the real discipline in the education is not on shutting them up and quieting them down and changing their perspective, but helping them see how they're showing up and getting what they want to get. And then by doing that and being with them, that is how you're going to get your kids to get that revelation in their lives and come from a place that they feel supported and loved and cared for, and not from a place where they're in fear or afraid or attacked and I need to shut down, but from a place that, you know what, I'm allowed to make mistakes. I'm allowed to go out there and be a kid. In fact, they should be encouraged to be a kid, run around, be crazy, do dumb stuff. That's what's important. And that's how you're going to get it done. I don't know what's going on. So anyways, guys, I think great call today, Seth. It didn't work out like we thought, but you know what? I think we covered some great stuff, and I really appreciate your time and your effort to be here and do this with me. And I definitely want to practice some more this week to make this thing be exactly what we want it to be. My intentions on doing this every single week with Seth. I also intend to do 2 interviews a week with different people around the country. So if you're interested in being involved, I'd love to. Also, a huge focus of mine right now going forward is Wyoming and South Dakota. I'm from Wyoming. That's my heart. I got tattoos from Wyoming. I'm all about Wyoming. I love it. And I live in South Dakota now. And that's my home. It's my son's home, and I get to be the change here in this place also. So I'm committed wholeheartedly and 100% in making these changes here in these 2 states without a doubt, and that I will not leave anything on the table. So what's going to happen right now is that I'm focusing on this bar exam. I'm diving in every day, doing 100 to 200 questions every single day, and that from now until February 21st, that is where I get to put my energy and my intention. And that's going to get us the results we want to have. That's going to get me in a place where I can go out there and affect more change. Not just on here like this, but that I get to be the boot on the ground. And I get to do battle with these lawyers and these judges who are out there. Hopefully not from a place of being malicious, but that regardless of their intentions when they're doing these things, they're not doing what's best for the kids. And what's important is that our kids have a voice and support, and that I am 100% committed to making sure that that happens for these guys, boys and girls, and that they are supported so they don't have the experiences that all of us have had. That we get to help raise these little humans into their greatest selves, and that they get to have the love and support of all their parents and everybody that's involved, and that it's always connected. And so I'm fully committed to doing that. That is 100% my focus. And I'm going to be doing at least 1 interview from Wyoming and 1 interview from South Dakota each month. So if you're from those states, or each week, uh, um, if you're from those states, hit me up. If you got a story, everybody's got a story, and you want to tell it, come on, let's go. What we're trying to do is we're going to be going to the state capitals. I'm not going this year because it's during bar prep and during the bar season, but following year 2025, excuse me, my intention is to come hard with focus and urgency and a positive, connected, joyful energy. And I'm going to bring down the system, and we're going to bring change here to these 2 states. We're going to connect and be part of the change, and then we're going to move on. We're going to keep moving, and there's groups like AFESP and other groups out there, National Parents Organization, NPO is great, and others who are out there fighting to bring these changes across the country. I mean, I think there's a great movie coming out right now, which I'm going to be hosting, and maybe hosting it on Zoom. I don't know yet. I'm trying to get that set up. Hosting a viewing party. So maybe right here on Facebook, like this Facebook Live, we can watch We the Parents. It's coming out. It's going to be great. There's so much being done right now to help bring families together and support families that I'm just blessed to be in this space. And to have gone through the experience that I went through. And what I want to do is share everybody's experiences and get them out there. The more we can get it out there, the better we're going to be. And that, so if you're from Wyoming, if you're from South Dakota, hit me up. Let's get together. Let's start doing interviews like this where you are actually on the whole time. And let's get your story out there, because what we're going to do is we're going to be able to have, 50 to 100 stories of these dads and these moms and these kids who have gone through this experience of what they felt and how this affected them in their lives. And we're going to be able to take that to the legislature. We're going to say, here it is, man. Here's the proof. Here's all the scenarios. Here's where it's messing up. We need to make this. If it's got these 50 people from this last year, how many more do we have? They're going through the exact same thing. It's happening over and over again. It doesn't just happen to one person. And so that's the change we're going to bring. That's how we're going to make this change. And so my intention is to use this platform right here to highlight these things that are going on, to point the people in the right direction and give them hope and promise for a better day, and get to see others who are in the same experience. So you don't feel alone, because you know what? I've gotten thousands of phone calls, and I've talked to thousands of dads in the last couple of years about their experiences. And I've heard the stories, and it breaks my heart because this dad goes, "You got to hear my story." And then they tell me the story. And if I didn't hear that story this morning, the day before, knowing that they're hurting and they feel alone and isolated, and that man, you have a buddy that called me this morning who's in the same boat, a guy who called me up last week who just maybe got shared parenting or got every other weekend, but we're there and we're all going through it, and how do we support other guys who have been through this experience to heal through contribution to other men and other women that are going through this? How can we give more to these people and this giving of ourselves in a way that helps others who are now getting into this to cope and go through it? And that's one of the things that we're bringing here is you'll have a chance to see a person who has been alienated from the kids on here, over and over again, talking about their experience, how they are coping or did cope, when they chose to walk away, and how that looked and how that felt and how they feel now, because sometimes walking away is the right choice. Sometimes beating your head against a stone and torturing yourself and everybody else is not going to get you the results you want. And you get to make those hard choices and those hard decisions for yourself and for them. And that sometimes that is very difficult and painful, and to get judged. But that judgment's not about you, right? That judgment's about the person who's judging. You're in that moment. You get to make those choices for yourself and every day. And so you get to do that stuff. And that's really important. So don't beat yourself up, you know, be the best you can be, show up the best you can all the time. And when you don't show up the best you can, give yourself grace. You were there in that moment. Look at it. What was going on? Were you hungry? Were you tired? Were you stressed out? Were you frustrated? How were you showing up in that moment? And then make a conscious effort to do it different next time. If you think something different is going to be the way, talk to yourself about it. I want to do this next time this happens. And then when that comes up, remember what you said, and then make that choice to respond in that way. And then that becomes habit, right? You do it over and over and over again. And that becomes the habit for which you then raise your kids in your life. Making that change, making that habit be the way that you do things is going to move you forward and get you the results you want to have. And so that's something that's really important. And that's something that I really think I do in my life, and that I hope for all of you can do that in your lives. That having that support and having that ability to do that is so powerful. Yeah, dude, Ira, congratulations, man. Oh, dude, I know you're an amazing father and so full of love, man, and stuff. And you've gone through, you've experienced some things that very few people get to experience as a dad, as a non-custodial dad, especially. And uh, you remain focused and committed, and you were always there. My experience of you is focused and committed and loving father. Um, and you're always present, always ready and willing to step into that role. And congratulations on getting to be that, man. I know you've um, you've been waiting for that moment, and I'm so happy for you. What an opportunity. So, um, I'm gonna end this here in a second. I just want to give everybody a bunch of love, man. Thank you so much for coming on here. Thank you so much for allowing me to be in this space with you guys and to give back some love. And for George Kostopoulos out there, go Pokes, baby. I think they got a game tomorrow. Pokes are going to be going to the playoffs. I think we're going to get a game, and Arizona probably because that's where we always go. December 28th because let's have like one of the early crappy bowl games. So it's a Tortitos hot salsa, not from New York City bowl, and you know what? Us Pokes fans, we eat that stuff up. We don't even care, man. Give us some nachos. Give me those Tostitos. That's what I want. So let's go there. Let's get it. Um, Love you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna keep coming back here every single week. Only upping my game, being more connected, being more supportive, and hosting this better. So, love you, Seth, man. You're one of my best friends. I appreciate you, Ivan and Ira and Jesse and Hope and Alicia and Jason and there's probably 1,000 more people that got on here that I can't see and I get to learn how to do that. But um, let's go out there and keep being the best fathers and mothers and stepfathers and stepmothers and humans we can be because there are little people watching us every single day and that we get to step into our greatness each and every moment to guide them so when they become adults they aren't doing the same crap that we were taught how to do. They get to go out there and be better. They get to go out there and have better skills than we were taught and they get to be trained up the way that's going to help support them and having the life they want to have without having to learn it at 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever, that they are born and raised that way. And think about how much better we're going to be when we have people and kids especially learning these skills about being successful in life from an early age so they aren't building these giant walls and protecting themselves through like lies and hiding and escaping, but that they're open because they want to have that feedback, they want to have that support, they want to be giving, they want to be cared for, and that they are safe and they know that they can come any point in time and be protected and supported. So anyways, go out there and get it, guys. It's a Halloween weekend. I hope everybody's going to have some good times. I am going to be wearing two costumes, and I'm looking forward to them. I will be a knight, which I'm going out with my girl, and I'm going to be a knight at Dead Weird in Deadwood, South Dakota. So if you're in South Dakota or Wyoming, come out to Dead Weird, and I'll be hanging out in my night outfit. I got chainmail and everything. It's gonna be dope. And then Tuesday, Halloween, I get my son. And with my son, I get to we are Thor. That's right. Last year I was Dad Bod Thor. This year I'm Dad God Thor. I've been crushing the gym. I'm gonna go crush the gym again today, and play some pickleball and throw them weights around, man, because it gets me clear. So um, go work out, man. It's the best thing you can possibly do for yourself. Go work out. I don't care if you're a guy or a girl. Hit that gym. Eat good food. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week.